Welcome to the July, hot, steamy July Q&A.
Summer is here.
Are you stopping yourself from talking about the weather? I can
Yes.
feel it. You want to so badly. It's okay. It's going to be okay.
I'm
We're
not
just going
going
to
to talk
proceed
about
through
the
this
weather.
awkward moment of not discussing the weather, since you hate that.
Let's
You're always
instead
inclined.
let's instead talk about unnecessary little stressful things that occur in our life. I had a moment yesterday where I have had a very, very busy week. And I had a moment yesterday where I was running into the grocery store after a very busy day and had very little time. And my phone rang as I was going into the grocery store, and it was my sister calling. So I always pick up the phone, when my sister calls when I can. And as I'm chatting with her while going through the grocery store, I'm thinking to myself, why am I doing this? Like, why am I taking this phone call right now? I have to focus on what I need to get in the grocery store in the 5 minutes that I have to be here. And so I just randomly threw out on Instagram, like, what are the ways in which you might unnecessarily create extra stress in your life? Like picking up that phone call was just extra stress for me. I could have waited 10 minutes, called her back in the car, and had a peaceful conversation and gotten a lot more out of the conversation than the rushed conversation we had while I was trying to get groceries. And I also probably wouldn't have forgotten something at the grocery store, which I did and always do every time I pick up the phone while I'm in the grocery store. Plus, then you're trying to check out, and I always feel so rude because I'm on the phone and you're trying to check out while you're on the phone, and it's just not nice. And I'm like, I am just not going to take phone calls in the grocery store anymore. Do you do that?
Never,
Yeah. Well, I
never.
do. And
Well,
it's
first of all, my phone is always 100% of the time on silent.
mine too.
So I don't know when people are trying to call me. Like my brother texted me the other day and said, I tried calling you earlier. And I was like, sorry, like if you don't text me a follow-up, I'm not even going to know you tried me or call the house line. But I don't do that because with the line of work I'm in and the quantity of women and clients who've always reached out to me, I realized my kids are going to grow up to the sound of like ding, 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 ding all
No,
the time. And I just
no.
made a promise I'm going to live with the phone on silent. And I do. I can't imagine any other way. The downside is I now consciously check it, and that's not a great thing that I have on my head, like to go check the phone. But yeah, it just never rings. So no, I don't, and I'm not big on talking on my phone either. I don't like talking on a cell phone. I hate the radiation.
I agree.
Avoid it.
And yes, my phone is 100% on silent for the same reason. There's way too many notifications that come in for anybody today between apps and text messages and whatever. You have to keep your phone on silent. But like if my sister called while I was driving in the car, so it rings through, pick it up, and then I'm carrying the conversation on in the grocery store instead of just saying, "Hey, I'm running into the grocery store. Let me call you back when I get back in the car."
Oh yeah, I
So,
would definitely say I'm running into the store. I can't talk. I
yeah,
I don't that you're pointing out the top source of stress, I believe. It's not focusing on one thing at a time.
right. So I asked our community ways, what are some unnecessary little stressors in your life, that you could reduce? And I explained what mine was. So I thought we would just share these.
Okay.
And the first woman said, taking phone calls at all, any
Yeah.
phone calls ever. Yeah. I
Okay.
feel like phone calling is kind of dead. People just text.
Well, that's sad, right? I mean, the best thing is to be in person, the next best is on the phone, and the worst is texting and all that. But yeah, when the phone rings, it's stressful because it means you're in the middle of something else and you have to stop what you're doing.
Another one said texting and emailing people back.
Hmm.
It's a lot of work. It can be a lot of work. Um, Another one said, when my husband's phone pings when we're watching TV, my phone is mostly on silent. I believe everybody's phones should always be on silent.
Wow.
Yeah, no pinging. That's not fair. Mountain lions, what?
What?
Is that it? I mean,
There's always the person who goes
okay.
rogue when we ask one of these questions. They just go totally rogue. So the biggest stress in her life is mountain lions.
The biggest
Really?
unnecessary stress. This is supposed to be like a stress you can reduce. So I guess you can't go hiking.
What? We
I
have to,
don't. She must live in Wyoming or Montana.
I need to know more. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Crumbs on my feet. Oh yeah, totally. You need a Roomba. Yeah. You can
Crumbs, like in the
totally
kitchen?
reduce that stress. You can get rid of it 100% with a robotic vacuum that just cleans your floors all the time. Moms groups on Facebook, LOL. Get that. Get off those things. They are very stressful.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes they're helpful, but a lot of stress.
Yeah, people treat each other differently when they see each other's eyes, when they connect, when they talk. I think that whenever anyone can post something anonymously, they're just not going to be as nice, as compassionate, as understanding. I never see women in my groups or our work actually judge each other. But if you go to that kind of anonymous space where people are posting things, it's not so nice. I think women are signing themselves up for a lot of risk if they join those groups. It's a false sense of community. It's helpful if you want resources for things, but
Well, that's all social media. You just have to know you have to have your boundaries with it because social media is a great resource. You can get tons of excellent free education, but you're also going to be faced with opinions that trigger you. So you have to know you have to know what you can tolerate, and if it's bothering you and it's a source of unnecessary stress, remove it.
Mhm.
Ants.
Ants.
Okay, those are kind of
Okay.
stressful.
It's like,
Those are annoying. They're definitely annoying.
I guess so.
My dog's standing and staring at me everywhere I go. Yeah,
That's
that's a
welcome to
lot,
my life.
especially with a baby.
Yes, 100%.
Returns.
Oh,
Okay, so,
yeah.
so you can reduce that by not buying things unless you're absolutely sure you want them.
You can reduce that by not giving birth to a daughter.
Oh my gosh.
So my daughter is 75% of the reason of
Yeah,
all my returns.
completely. Yes, the son is like, sure, that works. Sure, I'll wear that. Yeah, I love it. Thank you. The daughter's like, nope, 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 nope. I don't even buy for my daughters anymore.
My daughter
Turn
buys for
around.
herself and then I have to return things.
Well, make her return them. What the
Well,
heck?
she doesn't drive yet. I can't make her do that. When they're online,
She can package it up
she
and
does.
send it back.
She does. She'll send me the label, but if I have to go to UPS, I have to go to UPS. She does all that. It's still, it's just still a thing on the head. Like what
Yeah.
returns have to be done. Okay,
Yes,
go
yes,
on.
it
What's
is.
next?
Okay. The microwave fan. Okay. Get rid of the microwave.
Get rid of the microwave.
Definitely get rid of the microwave. Making up stories in my head about what others think and throwing myself a pity party. Okay.
Mm.
There are some tactics for working on that.
I feel for people who go through life assuming that people don't like them.
Yeah, that is not a mental space you want to be in.
But that's a mental space most people are in at some point. They have a social anything. They interact with someone socially, they second guess the things they say, they assume they're not liked. It's a shame. It's very
You know
stressful.
what? You know what my solution to that is?
Your
Well,
opinion of me is none of my business.
your opinion is none of my business. It's a hard practice, but if you continue to fortify that thought in your mind, it becomes real.
Yeah.
Becomes real. Another woman just wrote my husband. Oof.
Yeah, I was waiting for that one.
So again, solutions. Um, Clutter on the counters. Yeah, that's a big one. Um, my toddler taking a super long time to go down for a nap. That's so stressful because you're
Hmm.
just like watching the minutes of the day slip away and thinking of all the things you need to get done that you can't get done and just wishing they would fall asleep. And why is it so hard?
And then you're afraid they'll fall asleep too late in the day and have the whole thing will be off, and you're just projecting all the stress it's going to bring you later. It's tough.
My purse being disorganized. Time for a smaller purse.
Hmm. I don't
You,
understand. I have a friend who goes everywhere with a big, heavy purse. Even like when she picks me up to go to the gym and we just go to the gym, I just have like my phone and my key.
I'm that friend.
You have a
I'm
big
that friend.
purse? I just
Yes.
always say, what? And she'll say, well, I can't drive without my license. I'm like, why
Uh,
the
uh,
2 pound handbag? Like, what's in it? I've never been one. I used to work in the handbag industry right out of college at Liz Claiborne. I was the leather handbag merchandiser. And it was like, I had all these beautiful, gorgeous leather tote bag, all the styles, all these beautiful bags that I got basically for free. And I still didn't enjoy use of them because I don't understand. When I was in school, business school, I would carry books around, but otherwise, I like to go light. I love the look of a big bag, but when I carry one, it's empty.
well, I usually leave it in my car and then I just take my phone in wherever I'm going because that's all you really need to make a purchase anywhere. But I like to have my bag with me because it carries my water bottle and I like to have my computer on me at all times. You never know when you might just want to pop into a cafe and check your email for an hour.
That's your lifestyle. That's true.
That's my lifestyle
Yeah, you're
on
all
the
over
go.
the
It's
county.
virtual
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
So I carry a big bag.
Okay.
and like 3 lip glosses and sunglasses. And my
That's
wallet is the least important thing in my bag. Okay. What else? Being somewhere for too long. I have a 30 to 45-minute max time limit. Okay. She knows herself. That's good. How busy Trader Joe's is.
she doesn't like that.
No,
This is like a stressor for her, how busy Trader Joe's is.
yes.
Oh,
It's
huh.
an unnecessary stress. So you just have to
Okay.
find a different time of day to go to Trader Joe's. There are some
Okay.
very quiet hours in Trader Joe's
Definitely.
and different locations. Well, I mean, a lot of people don't have, we are very lucky. We have like 6 Trader Joe's within
We have a lot.
driving distance.
I
And
always go to the
some
same one.
I never will go to, and the others are always peaceful.
Hmm. I never mind how busy Trader Joe's is. Alex comes home from Trader Joe's every time. Like, I love those people. I love Trader Joe's. Like, it's just a feel good place for us.
It is a happy place.
Lots of friends.
People are very friendly there.
Yeah.
The public school system, I don't feel right sending my kids every day.
Mm. Hmm.
Yeah.
I have a client, a lovely woman in my postpartum group, and I didn't know this until yesterday. She's one of four. She has three brothers, and they were homeschooled starting in the 90s. They were homeschooled all the way through 12th grade. And her mom sounded like she did an unbelievable job with it. And she went to an Ivy League school. She got into UPenn. I was fascinated. I definitely would love to talk to them and I think have them on Patreon. She said her mom would love to. So I would love to have them on and let people come and like ask questions about how, if they're interested in homeschooling, because
I
I
think
just want to have the conversation.
I think that's a fabulous topic.
Yeah,
Definitely a Patreon
yeah,
topic we should do.
yeah.
All right. So shall we move into the questions for
Oh,
today?
yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
This is a Q&A, not a just a random chat.
Not a Monday night chat on Patreon. Right. Thank you for that reminder.
You're welcome.
Hi, Cynthia and Trisha. I would love to know from your knowledge and expertise about the amount of folic acid that we should be taking during pregnancy. I had been taking a prenatal which marketed on the front, quote unquote, with folic acid, which struck my attention because from my research and understanding, this helps to prevent spina bifida. However, I had not known that it also may have been a culprit for my baby's severe tongue ties. We felt pretty pressured into getting them all released as soon as possible, but we weren't given enough heads up about the aftercare of this type of procedure. So you do have to stretch out the incision site we were told up to through 8 weeks and possibly furthermore. And that's into the wee hours of the night. And it was pretty brutal and painful for all of us. So I hope that by me asking you this, that you may have some insight on what to look for or maybe some peace of mind for those currently taking folic acid. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. And keep doing what you're doing because we all love it. And we're thankful. Thanks.
So the standard recommendation for folic acid supplementation in pregnancy is 400 to 800 micrograms per day. It goes up to 5,000 really high doses for mothers who have a history of neural tube defects or are at risk. The reasons folic acid is recommended in pregnancy is specifically to prevent neural tube defects. And has been shown in research to be very effective at reducing neural tube defects. But there's a lot of question now about the impact of folic acid on the development of the midline, which is the neural tube development is the midline development in the embryo. And there's concern that the folic acid, excess amounts of folic acid, because we're taking higher doses in pregnancy, plus our food is heavily fortified with folic acid. So the question is this excess folic acid one of the reasons that babies are becoming more tongue-tied because tongue tie is part of the midline development and the midline developing too tightly in too much tissue there?
That is so interesting. I didn't ever think that there was actually a connection. I knew about the tongue tie link, but I didn't think it could be explained like that. That's so
So
interesting.
the debate is, should we be taking folic acid or should we be taking a methylated folate or just getting folate from our food? So folic acid is meant to replace B9. It's B9 vitamin. And folate is in our food, but it has to be converted by the body. And there's a lot of discussion around the MTHFR deficiency, which is a gene variant that maybe prevents this methylation from happening. So now the recommendation a little bit more in like the holistic world is take methylated folate so that it's more easily utilized by the body. And then is the folic acid that we're getting so much folic acid in our diet, is that folic acid potentially blocking folate that we are actually consuming in our diet and making the problem worse? But the evidence is so robust in the maternity world to support folic acid for the prevention of neural tube defects that it's still strongly recommended, but it might be creating this subsequent harm of excess tongue ties. And she's right. Having a tongue tie released is it's a big ordeal. The procedure itself is not so bad, but the aftercare is pretty intense. And it can be very disruptive to feeding relationships. And obviously it's a major cause of breastfeeding difficulties. And sometimes the release isn't even, getting the outcomes that we want. So we really do want to try to get to a root cause of tongue tie and tongue tie prevention. And I would be in favor of methylated folate over folic acid. I wouldn't be taking, we talked about this in our episode with Lily Nichols. And I do remember saying in that episode, like, I feel like saying, stop taking your folic acid.
Yeah, I thought that's really what women should be doing now, just the folate.
Well,
But
it's still fairly controversial.
Well, is there sufficient research or any research on folate?
Not really. That's the problem.
Well, maybe that's the only problem. Maybe
Right.
that would also show that it has all the
But
benefits without.
it just makes sense. Like,
Yeah, it makes sense.
get more real food
Yeah.
in your diet. And because MTHFR seems to be quite common, it seems that you would be better off just taking the methylated version and the needed prenatal vitamin, which we are big fans of the needed products for prenatal vitamins and postpartum supplementation and all of their whole nutritional line. They provide a methylated folate prenatal.
I love needed.
Yeah, 20% off if you use our link and promo code down to birth.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Hi, lovely ladies. My name's Nicole, and I'm a doula, and I just noticed a lot of times with my clients that we're having to have an emergency cesarean after long labors and trying. Once the baby's born, they noticed that cord is wrapped around the neck multiple times, and they're being told that this is what led to baby not being able to descend, and the reason why they couldn't progress past, like 1 centimeter or so after, super long inductions, and eventually getting the epidural so they could rest. So I wanted to know the evidence behind cords being wrapped around baby's neck multiple times in connection with not being able to progress in labor and, not being able to dilate, baby to descend, and all the other things. So that's my question, and I'm excited to hear your answers. Thank you so much for all the amazing work you do, and that's all. Love you guys.
So I wish we could give her some evidence on this, but this isn't important enough for anybody to study, so there is no evidence on this. And I would feel very comfortable saying that the reason that this woman could not get past 1 centimeter in labor was not because the cord was wrapped around her baby's neck 3 times, but rather because she was probably induced far, before her baby was ready to be born.
So are the doctors just using that excuse in this case, you think?
I do believe that the cord around the neck is used as a scapegoat for emergency C-sections or, failure to descend or, fetal heart rate abnormalities. Babies are born with their cords around the neck all the time.
Mhm.
All the time in undisturbed physiologic bursts without any complications. Now, it's not to say that it's never an issue. If a baby has a really short cord and it's 3 times around the neck, possibly that could impede their descent. Possibly that could cause some, abnormality in the fetal heart rate if it's compressed in just the right way. But that can happen if the cord is not around the neck at all. And,
Right.
the cord is just getting compressed temporarily.
Right.
So it's just a really good excuse at the end of a birth to say, oh, this explains why we had to do an emergency C-section, or this explains why you didn't get past 3 centimeters.
So I know the cord around the neck is no big deal, generally speaking, and it's extremely common. And the cord was around Vanessa's at my home birth. And the next day, Amy mentioned it to me. I didn't even know. She was like, oh, yeah, the cord was around the neck. I know it's not a big deal. But is it a bigger deal when it's around the neck 2 or 3 times? Not because the cord is now without any slack, like is in and of itself, is it basically the same technique for a midwife to like slip the fingers in there and just protect the neck on the way out? Is it anything different when it's more than once around the neck?
Well, first of all, once around the neck is really common. 3 times around the neck is a lot less common. And sure, it takes some length off the cord. So if you already have a shorter cord, which some babies just have, then the cord has to have a lot of give to not be overstretched and strained. Probably is a bigger deal, but it's a lot less common. But it is also not a guaranteed reason that your baby's not going to be born vaginally or that your baby's going to have a heart rate issue. My belief now is to leave the cord alone. It used to be that we were, going in there and slipping the cord over the baby's head or even cutting the baby's cord at the perineum, which is a terrible idea. Do not do that. Leave the cord intact. If it's easy to slip it over the baby's head, maybe that makes sense. This is going to be, a decision that a provider is going to make in the moment. But for the most part, you can just leave it be.
Hi, ladies. Was just calling in. I have a question. I'm getting a provider that is telling me that I cannot do a VBAC because my birth was May of 2024. And I'm due now November 2025. And they say that the 18 months is not enough of a time, but everything I'm finding says it is. And it's birth to birth, not birth to conception, which is just really confusing. So I wanted to just ask, I guess, what are the risks if I am to VBAC, or if I am to just go ahead and do a second C-section, as I do want another baby eventually, to possibly have 3 or 4. So just hoping I can get that question answered and get some more clarity. Thank you.
Typical.
Sounds like a provider who just doesn't want to support a VBAC.
Yeah, totally. It was interesting that she said she found it confusing that it's birth to birth. I don't know why she finds that confusing.
She's saying is the time recommendation of 18 to 24 months from birth to becoming pregnant again,
Right.
or from birth to including
Birth.
9 months of pregnancy?
I know.
Birth to birth, right.
But birth to birth makes sense. Birth to conception wouldn't make sense to me.
Right. Yes, and that's also, there is a wide range, and nobody actually knows how many months you need to have in between giving birth to reduce the likelihood of a uterine rupture. That's what this is all about, right? Trying to reduce the chance of uterine rupture in a subsequent birth.
I wonder if there's even research on that. I'm always suspicious of really round numbers, like 18 months, exactly a year and a half, and then women take it. They're taught to take it so seriously, like they're worried if it's 17 months.
That's right.
And there's so many times doctors use language like that. Like they'll say there's a 99% chance of blah, blah, blah. They just say it. That's not true. That's why so many people say there's a 99% chance of everything, because it's just not true that there's all this research that lo and behold, it comes out to exactly 99%. It's just basically a number people like to use. And whenever there's exactly a round number, like 1 year or 18 months, I feel the same way. I really wonder if there's a shred of research around that. There are things that make a woman a better candidate for a VBAC for sure. But I don't really believe it comes down to whether it's 18 months exactly.
To me, it really comes down to a longer interval between pregnancies is better for a lot of reasons. Like pregnancy, birth, and breastfeeding are pretty demanding on the body, and the body needs recovery time. And it isn't just about your uterine scar. It's about restoring your nutritional depletion. Breastfeeding is very demanding. It's about restoring your sleep. It's about restoring your mental health. I just feel there's a lot of pressure on women from, I don't know where it's coming from, to have babies, to like really get their babies in close together. And natural child spacing, if you look around the world without birth control, natural child spacing typically is 18 to 24 months. And that just kind of makes sense. So, regardless of the scar, it is better to give yourself that time. But if she is pregnant and it's been 17 months since her VBAC, when she's going to give birth, it'll have been 17 months, and her provider is saying that they will not do a VBAC, find a new provider because this is just a provider who doesn't believe in VBAC. That's their policy. It's stupid. And they don't believe in VBAC. They don't trust it.
It's arbitrary. If it's not that, it's going to be something else. I can't believe there's still so much resistance with VBAC.
Well, also, she should listen to our VBAC episode.
On Patreon,
Cynthia, tell me the number. No, this is a regular episode.
episode 63.
Didn't we just do a regular episode on VBAC?
Oh, the recent one, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, the risk of uterine rupture, number 317.
Yeah. Okay, so she should listen to our episode number 317 on ACOG's guidelines around VBAC, and we kind of break down all the evidence that's available on VBAC and the risk of uterine rupture.
Quickie time, your favorite time.
Okay, quickie time. All right, here we go. Let's see what people want to know today. Can the fetal ejection reflex still happen with an epidural? Yes, it can, but I think it's a lot less common. Not impossible. I would never say something could make it not happen. But the physiology of birth, unmedicated, it's much more likely to happen. My midwife held her hand over the perineum while I pushed. Is this why I didn't tear?
We'll be talking about that today on Patreon.
Yes, that's our Patreon topic of the day. Possibly.
Possibly.
Possibly is the answer to that.
Possibly. The key is patience.
The key is patience, and they don't need to hold your perineum to prevent tearing, but it's possible that it was a little bit of support was helpful. We'll see. What are the risks of denying magnesium for preeclampsia? The risk is
Magnesium sulfate in the hospital? Oh, wow. I would say high.
Yes, the risk is a preeclamptic seizure, which is life-threatening.
Yeah. There are times to be grateful for intervention. This is I was just talking to this group of clients this morning about this. We had a little ad hoc 1 hour session together today. And I was saying, we must remember the point here is to avoid unnecessary intervention. If there hadn't been such abuse with intervention, we would all feel more relaxed, but there's been so much abuse that women start to fear any intervention. But we must remember there are times to be very grateful for precisely that. And magnesium sulfate for preeclampsia, my gosh, it's like near the top of the list there.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, it just doesn't go away. And the risk just potentially keeps getting higher. So it doesn't go away until you give birth. Right. And you do want to prevent a seizure. Mm-hmm. Top things to increase my chances for a VBAC. Listen to our VBAC episode.
Provider is probably the top thing.
Definitely.
She's thinking in terms of what she can do. Her body is planning a vaginal birth. That's what she needs to know. Every cell in her body is planning a vaginal birth. So now who's going to support what every cell in her body is planning to do? It starts with the provider for sure. And then listen to the episode, and we have a different one on Patreon as well.
OP deliveries, your experience and explanation of how it affects. I had one 3 weeks ago. I love how people think these are quickies. Like that's a whole episode right there.
So describe OP first.
So basically OP means when the baby is born with the back of the head on the sacrum instead of the face or front of the head. So this is when you hear about back labor, it's because the baby's back of the head is kind of pushing on the bone on the back, on the sacrum, and it's a little bit more challenging. It's a normal variation of labor, sometimes more difficult, sometimes it's the right position for the baby. Sometimes it's just the right position. So that's my explanation is it is what it is. And in late pregnancy, our posture and our center of gravity can definitely impact a baby being anterior or posterior. All right. What is your favorite flower to grow in a garden? What a nice question.
I don't remember the name. There's a flower that takes my breath away. Let me text my friend. Do you remember the name of the flowers that I'm so obsessed with? Question mark. They come in beautiful, spectacular variations. She's going to tell me right away. Oh, they're incredible. They're the most beautiful flowers. She just saw it. She got it. I can ask her any question about my life. And
Who's
she
this?
comes back, Zoo, of course.
Oh, Zoo.
I can ask her anything about my life and she knows the answer. I can write to her and say, what's that flower that I love so much? And she said, more context, please. And I didn't have any. So then she responded with the right answer.
Okay, what's your favorite flower according to Zoo? Oh,
No,
dahlias.
right, dahlias. They're the
Oh,
most
they're so pretty.
they're the most beautiful flower. I just think they're spectacular and they come in so many varieties. And I knew a woman who said they were easy to grow and I would
Super
love to
easy.
grow them one
That's
day.
why I grow them.
You grow them?
They're in my back planters right now on my porch.
They're so beautiful.
So I love a ranunculus. If I could grow, I am going to grow some wildflowers. I tried vegetables and it didn't work out very well because I'm gone for a lot of the important summer months when vegetables need to be watered. So
They look
I'm
like
not growing
peonies.
I'm not growing vegetables anymore.
They look just like peonies to me. They're really
We're not,
beautiful.
yeah, they're just like delicate and
Yeah,
they kind of like curve a little and they're pretty. I just want a
very dense,
wildflower.
very dense, round petals, like peonies. They're
But
beautiful.
they look like a baby peony.
Yeah, they do.
And I love peonies too.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. They look just like them.
Makes sense. And I mean, you can't beat growing sunflowers. They're so gorgeous. Sunflowers are amazing. Restless leg syndrome. What can I do? I'm already taking magnesium and iron. So restless legs is pretty common in pregnancy. It's also related to iron deficiency, so which is also very common in late pregnancy. So focusing on getting healthy iron into the body. I think acupuncture can also be really helpful for this.
Okay.
What's a good post-breastfeeding bra? I haven't bought a normal bra in years. Here's what I would recommend because I don't know. I don't know if I have a particular bra brand that I recommend, but I do recommend going to a lingerie store. Make it an outing for yourself. Go to a nice lingerie store and get fitted and find the bra that makes you feel good.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah, it's fun, because your breasts are different, so you can't really go back to the bra that you wore pre-breastfeeding, probably. I mean, you probably can, but it might not fit well. Treat yourself to a nice new bra, make it an outing. What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
It's so easy.
Mint chip?
Let's ask Zoo. Yes, it's mint chip. Isn't that like half of the people's favorite? Is that how you guessed?
Probably.
I'd rather answer my favorite brand. I think Haagen-Dazs makes the best store ice cream by far. I'm starting to not like other brands. I love their coffee chocolate chip, their chocolate chip, their mint chocolate chip, and their Belgian chocolate. Those are my 4 favorite ice cream flavors by Haagen-Dazs. That's how well I know them. What about you?
I like Haagen-Dazs coffee a lot.
Yeah.
I love butter pecan, mint chip. I think that actually Trader Joe's ice cream is fantastic. So it's either local creamery, sweet cream, or Trader Joe's. I don't like their coffee. I like their mint chip, and their vanilla is awesome. And yeah, eat it all the time.
I don't like their ice cream anymore. I don't know why. I just had it recently at my friend's house, and I was like, I just have to finally accept it. I don't like it anymore. I used to like their mint chip a bit, but yeah, I think I've had too much Haagen-Dazs too many times in a row that I've become really particular to it.
Have you ever had Jenny's ice cream?
Years ago.
Oof, that stuff is nice.
Yeah. I don't like Ben and Jerry's.
No.
A lot of people like Ben and Jerry's. It's like, to me, it's borderline. Again, like it crosses out of ice cream into kind of, it's like
candy.
Yeah, like candy, like 5%, 10% candy. But yeah, they're missing something for me.
That's why I like Trader Joe's. It's pretty pure. It's like 4 ingredients. Vanilla. Their vanilla is very minimal.
It's so sweet. It's not for me. Unless it's affogato, when you pour espresso over it, and I love that. My mother makes it for me every time I go to her house.
Nice. All right. Well, we have a Patreon event starting in 10 minutes, so we need
Oh
to
my gosh.
switch gears.
Right. I almost forgot. All right. Joining
Let's
us.
go talk about the perineum. Adios.